let's go ahead and get into picks 2 for game 2 picks and bans. What do you want to see Spacestation do differently? Because Hindu was very adamant on the cast that he thought picks and bans were a problem.
I think it was. I don't necessarily agree with the Bakasura selection for andinster, considering he never found the opportunity to just lock down Baskin and keep him out of the game. I think the early game was swinging into eUnited's favor. A lot of it also came down to PBM playing the Baron, making these really impressive early rotations, making the impact, using that movement speed to just ping-pong all across the map.
Certainly the best Baron has looked so far in SPL play. I know it's not his first victory, but I think it's the best he's looked so far, so we'll see if Spacestation want to take that away from him. As eUnited go with the exact same 2 bans, Morrigan and Athena. Spacestation in this spot in game 1, ban Freya. They will do the same here. And I gotta imagine Scream's gonna go back to the Naja in this spot, though maybe there is some consideration to Baron first pick, making sure Spacestation can't take it.
That could be the possibility. You gotta take one or the other. You don't take both. And you don't leave both open either, because Spacestation Gaming will certainly select it. So eUnited prioritizing Naja for Scream, trying to get any sort of early momentum.
I agree. I think this is the right way to go. Now, Spacestation, do you pick away that Baron? Not quite yet. They go with Cerberus right away. JeffHindla played this last game, and this has been a pick that Jeff has liked more and more throughout Season 5, but could go over to Aquarius. But it's going to be Cerberus and Ravana. So switching up that Bakasura, but they do leave Baron open again.
I don't think Ravana was a priority pick here. They could have maybe opted for something else differently. Maybe
especially with Naja already on the table for Scream.
I don't necessarily expect this Ravana to be going in the solo lane anytime soon. It's definitely more the jungle pick than anything, especially switching it from a warrior to an assassin now, all the base stats and whatnot. Hou-Yi, the selection with Baron, Samedi. I like this from PandaCat, able to really flex his guns there. Not something we've seen very often in Season 5.
Feels like a little bit of, I could go on here if I felt like winning, but I want to play something else because I feel like I'm going to win anyways. Hou-Yi the pick for him, and BaRRaCCuDDa also picked his hunter in this spot. It was Rom last game, this time going for the Medusa, something that can take those 1v1s in lane much, much better than the Rom can.
Rom more of that late game centric focused character. Medusa can certainly box with the best of them. Difficult to really avoid the spatter from her acid spray. So positioning around that a little trickier, especially when a Hou-Yi is looking to hit the whole wave with that ricochet.
Couple bans again for Spacestation focused at Baskin. Raijin and Ullr banned away, whereas eUnited, they look a little bit differently. They go for Aquarius as Hercules, and then they ban the On Her in case of a double ADC comp from Spacestation. So both teams really respecting these double ADCs. eUnited already did it. Is this what we expect to see more of here in the fall split?
Possible. In the spring, there was a lot of double hunters. Not so much in the summertime, but who knows what's going to happen during the fall. Venenu is known for his hunters as well, dating back to Oxygen Supremacy, even playing the hunter role back in ALG. But it's going to be the Janus selection for him, and I'm actually surprised that it's gone so late in the draft to go through, because Janus is just one of the best team fighting mages, I think, personally.
Yeah, but look at the team fight that eUnited has. I mean, Neith, Sobek, their final 2 selections, tons of CC on this team. Everyone has an ability that will make you stand still, whether it's the root from Baron or Neith, or the stuns from Naja or Sobek or Hou-Yi. Achilles will be the final selection, so instead of trying to match that team fight prowess that Sobek can have, instead Aquarius going towards that Achilles. Is that enough for you to vote for Spacestation to win this game? I know chat thought Spacestation was going to win game 1. What about you, Toli? Do you like this Achilles pick here?
I like the aggression between Achilles and the Ravana combined. I think there's going to be a lot of solo lane pressure, maybe some blue buff invades. You add a Medusa on the side lane so that BaRRaCCuDDa should be able to hold his own. Cerberus with the Janus combination. Spacestation Gaming is screaming aggression all across the board.
We'll see if it's enough to at least extend the game a little bit longer. Only 24 minutes or so for game 1. Hopefully Spacestation can turn it around here in game 2. It's Funch and it's Hindu.
Thank you, Aggro. Yeah, that is a
Funch?
Yep, that's a thing that's going around.
I like it.
Yeah. You know, you can feel however you want to feel about it. You're in charge here.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I try not to think about it. Is what I do.
Oh, sorry, I won't bring it up.
eUnited up against Spacestation. Game number 2. Graham, in game 1, eUnited kind of just ran away with it. I felt like they did whatever they wanted for 23.5 minutes.
They did.
Here in game 2, though, Spacestation have drafted, I feel like, some much better early game tools.
And that's true, completely. And Tolly said it on the desk too. We're going to see andinster on the Ravana much better in the early stages. Same can be said for the Achilles as well. That's going to be a much more impactful thing as this continues. I'm a little bit worried by the Baron support again, however. It did make an impact last game, even though everyone voted for Cousin Bone because you're all like turtles or trolls or kappas for some reason.
Everybody just voting for Kuzma because they like Kuzma. No, it's fine. Chat, that's why we give you all that poll. Vote for whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at me if I don't take y'all seriously afterwards.
I will say, though, that the Mixer chat will having a nice little debate among themselves because there's definitely some fanboys of Baskin and Venenu, and they're both going at it in chat going, Venenu's better, Baskin's better. No, what are you talking about? I love Baskin. I love Venenu.
We were in the green room having a caster meeting, and you said to Taco, "Don't do your chat voice," and then you come in and you do your English chat voice. You gambler savage, you.
No, but Taco's is. I think Taco's a little bit more insulting. That's why.
What do you mean?
Because it sounds like they're all 7 years old when Taco does it.
I don't know.
There's a big difference.
Taco's is funnier for sure.
Look at this, though. Venenu being kept off the wave again, and Andy being forced back here, too. Just allowing Baskin and Scream to get pressure in the lane again for free. This is kind of what you're expecting, though, from a Neith and a Naja. But Venenu really needs to be careful with his farm. There's nothing really up in the jungle for him to take back from the back harpies, but he doesn't want to miss this wave.
He's going to have to make sure that he's being careful. He's so far back and kind of losing out on experience. That was important for him to at least make it over level 2. But look at Baskin and Scream. They both elected for Aegis's early on. They're not so much worried about control as they are about burst damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at the comp. Where's the CC that you're going to have to deal with? Realistically, it's just raw power. That's going to be the only thing you're going to have to worry about. So Aegis out some of that raw power, and you've got not much left.
Well, as long as they don't have to worry about JeffHindla, maybe make some early rotations. If he hits a Stygian Torment on them, that could be trouble. Now, Scream could make it back, could make it out relatively easily with Windfire Wheels, but I don't know if the same is true for Baskin.
But I'm talking about the early game. Like,
you're right.
Before you see these rotations come out, when you start to worry about JeffHindla around level 11, level 12, but at that point, well, the jungler and mid laner should be 12 or 13, which means they've got the beads anyway.
That's
so
right.
Why not play to the lane you're against? And the only real CC they've got there is a root from the Ravana or the portal from Venenu on the ground. But if you portal the ground in the Pro League,
they better be dead.
You will be punished for that, not using it as an escape.
Yeah, that portal had better kill everyone that could possibly kill you, or you're going to wish you had it for mobility. It's just so much better as a tool used to reposition here from Venenu. And I trust Venenu to be able to pilot this Janus and get the most out of it. Discordia, we really never saw much last game. But this gives Venenu, I feel like, some more options, whether he wants to play at 4 damage, whether he wants to move the team around a little bit more. He can sort of adjust as the team needs.
Yeah, I'm much happy with Spacestation's composition for this game. It's going to definitely even things up. Now, eUnited have a much better early game still with the Neith and the Naja being able to combine quite nicely in the mid lane. Although Janus will follow suit with the rotations with the World Weaver if there's any pressure on the side lanes. If Janus, you see the Neith fire off the World Weaver, then Janus can go, oh, I guess I'll ult this direction that you're aiming right now to make sure I can get my teammate out.
And I agree that I like this early game from eUnited, but I like their team fight a lot better too. I mean, Sobek is so disruptive and so strong in those fights. They've got Baron, they've got the whole Yi ult. They have so many tools at their disposal. I don't know how Spacestation is going to hang with them in the 5v5 either.
Executes will come into play. Turn into account there is an Achilles on the team.
That's for sure.
Before Aquarius here, and he's going to have an easy time farming up against the Sobek. It's basically how Benji and Aquarius adapts in this game as well as the game continues. Once again, though, when I look at Spacestation's composition here, I'm like, how do they dive the towers or the Phoenixes if they get to a Phoenix siege? Because it's going to have to be Achilles manually going in there, or Ravana, or even Cerberus, whereas you've got the likes of Benji for the blocks on the other side.
Sash is on the mark this time, is going to force out the ultimate from Aquarius early on. Benji drops the lurking in the waters as well, so they don't find a kill, but they at least force Aquarius back.
I mean, 3 ults for 3 ults is what... Sorry, 2 ults for 1 ult is what happened there overall. So if anything, it's a net win for Spacestation to go aggressive now, knowing that eUnited don't have them available.
Yeah, no Windfire Wheels here through space and time. Not quite going to help out here. Andinster is able to at least reposition. So there you go. They made it even the other direction now. 3 for 3 overall.
Drop kill, though, from Spacestation. Bit of miscommunication, missed abilities, unfortunately. That should have been first blood for Spacestation there, knowing Scream didn't have anything available. He didn't have no escape there. Just missed the abilities. That's all there is to it.
And he had the Aegis. There you go. Came up for him in that situation, and it would have been better than having beads there. So for sure, these early decisions by eUnited are right. And the reason we're highlighting them, not to say they're wrong, is because they're trying to point out why you don't always just insta-buy beads right at the start, right? Make sure you're paying attention to what your actual threat's going to be, and in particular for these two, they're more worried about that damage coming in.
Exactly. It's also the same thing for, well, relic choices for supports too, but hold that thought. Aquarius and Scream going at it.
I don't think he realized that Andinster was right there behind him in the jungle. Mystic Rush off the mark. A great juke that comes out from Scream, but very disruptive with the tail whip. First blood still going to come through in the favor of Aquarius, but he might pay for it with his life thanks to the life of the party.
Oh, he will. Don't worry. Venenu's out of mana too, so he can't do much. And Baskin might actually get aggressive because of that, but luckily, still just enough mana for a portal there. The ring toss, the extra mobility, the speed buff, that's what kept him in the fight. And now Andy could die here.
Andinster definitely is in trouble. And looks like Andinster has recognized that there's really no way for him to get out of that one, Hindi, man. He kind of just accepted his fate. He'd already expended everything he had. No mana really either.
That was the case of look down at your second ability, which is overhead kick, and go, how long is the cooldown on this? Oh, am I at like 10 seconds? Okay, is this ability going to last 10 seconds before Nope, I might as well just salute the fans at home and head back to Bix.
Yeah, thanks for being fans, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm going to watch it in black and white for a little bit and head over to the other side. Unfortunately, he realized that he was Terminator kind of sinking into the lava there and ends up falling. But this early pressure that we're seeing from Screammmmm in particular, it's been a little worrisome. He's been everywhere over the map, even when maybe he shouldn't be, I feel like.
But that's Najjar.
Yes, that's fair.
Look, he's got the travel issues, the extra mobility too when he's not in combat. He gets additional movement speed from the speed buff.
See you later.
The camp. Let me watch BaRRA die.
Chat's not going to like that. Through Space and Time, though, it's coming out from Spacestation Gaming. Graham, I think they might... Well, no, it's just too late. They're not going to be able to come in and try and contest this one at all. So instead, they're going to fall back and give up on that one. Unfortunately, as BaRRaCCuDDa gets caught out by Screammmmm one more time. He really has been all over this map.
eUnited really have come out swinging at the start of the league, and that's what you kind of expect from the world champions at the moment, technically, even though they've had Baskin move over to this team too. But they've got a point to prove that they wanted this roster change themselves. They wanted Baskin on the team. They have to show that, even though we made this roster change, we are still the best team in North America.
And I like both these roster changes, but it did kind of seem like Baskin, his switch might be the one that could be a little bit more plug and play than Venenu, even though I do think both these teams are going to be stronger afterwards. eUnited have kind of always fed the hot hand to me, so Baskin kind of just slides in, and if they need him, they'll need him, but if not, Screammmmm or PandaCat or Benji could easily just carry either way. So I like what we're seeing here from eUnited. I'm not too surprised they're doing well.
I mean, the only struggle I've got with eUnited, honestly, is not when they're winning. I want to see how they're going to do when they're losing, because I think that's the one test of this team's character. Is how do they do when they don't do well in the game? When you get stomped, they make a mistake, they do a bad picks and ban session, or the game goes wrong. How is their mentality going to be as a team then?
They might not have to face that test for quite a while, but hopefully they'll have everything sorted out by then as Baskin and the rest of eUnited looking aggressive around this red buff invade. JeffHindla jumps in, does have Stygian Torment to a lace pullback and Scream, but PolarBearMike answers in kind with his own ultimate. He gets stunned down and Mystic Rush says hello, but Scream responds by taking him up into the air as PandaCat finds Venenu.
Classic situation there where Andy sees the support, tries to kill the support who's used his abilities, but it's still Baron, and he's still got plenty of sustain and survivability. He's a tank mage there. It causes a lot of problems for him. The commitment didn't work out. I love what Jeff did, though. I think Jeff's call was great. Go in, force some relics, force him into an old, weird situation, but it came out fortuitous for eUnited in the end.
And JeffHindla's recognized what we talked about earlier. There's not that many beads for him to worry about. He's likely going to get pulls. It's through Space and Time, almost there. He'll never know how close that was until he watches back the VOD. But either way, eUnited grabbed that Gold Fury. And Graham, what was slow in Game 1, eUnited are off to an even faster start here in Game 2.
But it's still very similar. That's over there. It's still similar, still going for those Gold Furies, still looking for the picks of potential, which are a little bit more present this time round than last, just because of the opportunity that Spacestation feel like they can play up a little bit more because of their composition being that way.
And that's what's tough about this, right? In Game 1, eUnited were like, are you going to fight us early? And Spacestation are like, no, we didn't draft that. And so eUnited just kind of took what they wanted until the late game. This time, Spacestation are like, okay, we will take those fights. They're kind of just losing them, though.
Yeah, and I think that's some of that would be communication of what's going to happen, where is everybody, what's the game going to be. But in fairness, eUnited forced them to fight by invading, like around that red buff area.
Can't find the max range sass, so Andinster will instead fix that face. JeffHindla takes a ton of damage from Baskin in the middle lane. This Neith level 10 is already swinging. Even charge up the World Weaver just for a moment.
Finish the levels are starting to become so much of an issue. 2-level lead in the jungle and the mid position for eUnited. 2-level lead in the support position as well. All those 3 members of the team, over 50% clearly. There's only 5 on the team. Behind at the moment as now eUnited is starting to enjoy the left-hand half of Space Station's map.
Yeah, apparently this is eUnited's. Look how comfortably they've walked in here, and they're right. They just took the red buff, took those back harpies on cooldown, and then they left. No one from Space Station was there to respond at all.
But they couldn't really. In realistic form, they couldn't. Venenu's ultimate was on cooldown. The only thing you could do is Mystic Rush in for a red buff. Give it up, you kind of have to.
World Weaver comes out onto Venenu. That does force out his beads. But I think they were right. There was certainly an opportunity for follow-up as Baskin lands the Spirit Arrow Tier 1 in mid has been brought down well below half HP, and Screammm is still lurking.
So Spacestation have started to play a little bit more scared now, and that's the reason, because they are so far behind. But the more scared you play, the more eUnited are going to be aggressive and pressure. Baskin and Screammm are going to be so aggressive the whole time through this shit.
Aquarius does have Baskin in some trouble. Backflip allows him to reposition, but he's in execute threshold. Aquarius doesn't even need it, is able to find that kill, and Baskin finally gets punished for playing too far forward.
Aquarius is just coming over here all the time going, yo, Baskin, I was in your team. Welcome to the real world.
That is twice
son.
now.
This is what teams should be doing to you when you do this rubbish. That was a really good body block from Aquarius.
Screammm is going to end up getting executed as well. Aqua making the rotations, has all 3 kills for the team and giving Spacestation some life as BaRRaCCuDDa gets pulled back into the Suns. JeffHindla controls 2, but he immediately gets stunned, rooted, and takes way too much damage in return.
He might be able to get away from Venenu, but not inside towards Venenu, I should say. But BaRRaCCuDDa was just kept out of that fight by those Suns from PandaCat. BaRRaCCuDDa would have loved to have got in there, get those basics off, that could have turned the fight, maybe even made it a 1-for-1, but not to be. The Suns did a great job of just zoning him away.
And this is even after they took a couple spills in the middle lane off of some great presence there by Aquarius. PolarBearMike and PandaCat are like, well, we're still way ahead here in duo. Even if we lost a couple people in mid, they're playing up onto the purple buff. They're forcing Spacestation to either try and fight or just lose the game by way of losing all their farm over and over again.
And that's pretty much what the situation is now, is lose the farm over and over again. The contestable objectives, only the Gold Fury down so far. But I think now at the 12-minute mark, with the Pyro now being available, and of course the next Gold Fury coming up, this is the time where Spacestation have to, well, throw a few dice, otherwise it will get out of control here. They've got to take a couple of gambles on these objectives now to try and get away back in.
We're seeing Screammm yet again go with this sort of utility build we were talking about. This time with the Glad Shield in there to go along with that Wing Blade, so you can get a little bit of sustain in that build, along with that movement you talked about before.
And talking about the the objectives a little bit more of like how the Spacestation can get back into this. I don't even want to steal it away or look for the steal. I want them to allow eUnited to think they can get it free and then go for the fight. Almost the same sort of way when Rival commit to a Gold Fury, go in on Rival. Do that to eUnited when they commit to that Gold Fury or the Pyromancer. Look for the kills, because if you can find the kills, you'll lose the Gold Fury of the Pyromancer, sure. But then you can get some of these towers, and that will change the perspective of the map too, which makes it feel a little bit more comfortable and puts eUnited a little bit more on edge in these engagements.
And it's not all doom and gloom for them. They certainly can win some of these fights, Graham, because BaRRaCCuDDa is not really that far behind PandaCat, about a level and a half or so. Aquarius is right there even with Benji. He's made some strong rotations. Yes, the mid jungle and support are behind, and that's going to hurt, but if they can try and keep it from getting any worse than this and give Aqua and BaRRa a chance to make some more meaningful rotations, they can punish on the back of those objectives.
At the moment, though, the amount of experience lead is important because they're still not level 12. They need those second relics.
PolarBearMike is going to be the target one more time. JeffHindla coming in aggressive with a ghastly breath. Stygian Torment can't control him because he pulls out the coffin and pulls in the dog. Mystic Rush dunks him right through a portal, and Venenu finds a nice kill.
Well, they invested everything on the support, and now the turnaround is here. Benji from the right. Left-hand side Aquarius comes in, and Aquarius has to dip out, but Panda's not done.
PandaCat drops the Suns on top of Aquarius, but even though he's water, he makes it right on out. Benji wants to try and find one more to pluck back in, but can't have it. They'll instead settle for a Tier 1 tower, and perhaps even the Gold Fury as they move towards this pit.
Not just a Tier 1, it's going to be a gold on top of that too. But that's,
if you want to call it settling. Yeah.
That's what you saw in the Spacestation. Got a little bit frustrated of like, all right, we're going to do something. Andy goes in. Andy ends up getting killed basically because of it. He just couldn't stay there in the fight long enough. Then Jeff gets a really good ultimate off, but it's all the focus was on Baron. Once more, trying to get the play. Are they going for a cheeky pyro? I like this call.
It is through space and time, trying to get here very quickly. They got to find something on the map to try and keep them relevant in this game. Benji will be here to disrupt it, and more than disrupt it, he has ended it. Spacestation Gaming are on their way.
Nice slash from Screammm at max range there. Just cut it off the edge of the camera. He did get the beads immediately out of BaRRaCCuDDa and then the ultimate too on the follow-up. So that was a really nice little play from Screammm to burn both those things.
And that was nice. They didn't really, Benji didn't go towards the Gold Fury, I don't believe. He was kind of up near around the Tier 2 in that area, kind of bullying them around for a while. So when they threw space and time for the Pyromancer, he could be right there, as Aquarius has shown up to cause problems for PandaCat.
And this is the aggression you see out of eUnited. But oh, that did a lot more damage than bargain for. Screammm gets Andy too. BaRRa wins the trade, but now he's got 2 in his face.
PandaCat gets off all the damage before he dies, and Screammm finds a nice, neat double kill here in duo lane. 3 members in total dead for Spacestation, only 1 for eUnited. PandaCat, man, this has been his set, I feel like.
He's very aggressive, PandaCat, but that's always PandaCat, though. He's not scared to box anybody ever at any stage. So now this Tier 1 on the left goes down. That's a little bit more gold. Across the map, there's 1,500 gold just from the towers alone that eUnited have got for themselves.
And they want to try and grab this tier 2 as well. No one is around to defend this. They already see where JeffHindla is on the map, and Venenu might be able to make it in time to at least try and clear out some minions. But JeffHindla might be in more trouble than we were thinking. Stygian Torment is going to pull him right back towards that life of the party. They get the disruption, the slow to roots, and the doggy goes back to the pound.
He did get put in the pound. That's a lie. That's incorrect. He was already in the pound with how this game's going.
Oh,
Instead,
I see.
His time came to an end is what happened.
Wow. You want to make this real bleak? You want to talk about putting dogs down through space time?
I mean, that's kind of how this game's looking.
Aegis does keep Scream alive for the moment. Mystic Rush is right there to try and follow up, but Baskin backflips in place. He can certainly end up falling here to Aquarius. Andinster repositions, Sash, and the Ricochet land, so Sunbreaker should be enough to get the trade.
This isn't working out too bad for Spacestation, though. Even though Aquarius is going to take a lot of damage from this, this could work out. If Spacestation can make this a scrap, it could work out.
Venenu teams up with Aquarius, and they find one more kill. BaRRaCCuDDa is able to find the Petrify to get PandaCat in the back. Spacestation finally showing some signs of life with 3 kills in the jungle. They only lose 1 and keep this game competitive.
And the reason this is happening is because the eUnited are getting a little bit overconfident. They like to brawl and scrap. That's what they love to do. But sometimes they bite off more than they can chew. Now, in the grand scheme of things, they lose 3 lives for 1. They lose a tier 1 tower. But at the same time, eUnited still get a tier 2 on the right-hand side. Maybe they lose tier 1 in mid as well, which would even things up. But as long as eUnited don't do that anymore, it's still them in control.
They got to make sure they're being careful. There's a good teleport coming out from Benji to make sure he's here to defend the tier 2. They are going to lose the tier 1 in mid as well to Venenu, who kept that push up on the Janus. So the tier 2 tower was answered by those tier 1s. But that's just kind of one fight where eUnited have overstepped. They certainly still have the experience lead just about everywhere where it's relevant. BaRRaCCuDDa and PandaCat still relatively close. But look at this gold as well, 10,000 out in front. Spacestation are going to need a few more favors.
And when you see 10,000, split it between 5, and that's kind of where the lead is. So it's 2,000 per player. Probably not, because when you see the net worth, it'll be slightly one more than the other. But working out about 2,000 each, right?
Sure.
So how much is 2,000 gold worth to you in terms of items? That's such a massive amount.
It's a lot, yes. It's very
whole
scary.
item,
I was wondering, because for a while there, it sounded like you were going to go 2,000 per player is not that much. Then you kind of brought it home, and I was like, thank you. I'm feeling better. Yeah, that's definitely going to be tough for United to try and deal with, isn't there direct lane matchups.
Love PolarBearMike picking up the Lotus Crown on support Baron as well. That's just going to
we saw it last game
buff
too,
the team some more too. Just give them those extra protections. It works just like a Thebes, basically.
This Fire Giant's almost done through space and time is not enough. eUnited are the ones who are going to be able to grab that FG and defend it for themselves. Aquarius wants Baskin on the back end. Baron Heal not going to land, so Shell has to come out to keep him alive, but life of the party pulls him right back in.
Really good peel for Baskin, because they keep trying to commit onto Baskin, and still he's alive, and the body blocks are going to keep him from Aquarius from getting to him. Meanwhile, Venenu is getting beaten up by Scream.
Scream evens this up to make it 1-for-1. Aquarius makes it 2-for-1 as Baskin finds another kill with the ultimate. Benji controls BaRRaCCuDDa, does not have the pluck. He turns around to fight, but unfortunately he cannot make the trade. Not at this point. Another kill for Scream, making it 3-for-1. eUnited win it hand over foot.
And when you look back at this, as we're going to watch Andy eventually end up falling down here, it's going to be a long death for this one. But what happened is that Spacestation picked PandaCat. And the call, this is Spacestation comes. Kill Panda, kill Panda, kill Panda. Okay, kill Baskin, kill Baskin, kill Baskin. But when they were trying to kill Baskin, everybody in the eUnited peeled and slowly picked him apart for overextending, trying to get that kill.
They did whatever that it took, really, at that point to make sure they keep Baskin alive. And that overcommitment is, yes, Andinster does eventually meet that death. We also coming from a mile away. That overcommitment is really what turned the fight around. And one more time, Spacestation Gaming, again, are not valuing this Baron. And I think that what we've seen from PBM in this game is that it really is just about the control. It really is just about this utility. It's not about his damage. It's that life of the party in the fight, it's just too strong a CC for them to deal with.
It's not just the control, it's survivability too.
Yeah.
Not just to you, but to your teammates. And I think that's one of the reasons why Baron and support is probably going to work more so than seeing him in the mid lane. Now, a lot of people have been saying solo, and granted he works fine solo, but against certain junglers he's going to have a bad time. You can definitely pick him earlier on in the draft the way United have been doing and go, all right, well, we've got this, and we can go solo with him, or we can go into the support role with him, depending on what they pick.
So far, it's been working out for them very well. There hasn't really been any options coming out, but take a look at Scream already picking up one of our masks, into another one of those changes that we had in between towards the summer end and the fall split here as well.
Bombers is the one that he's chosen for, so cooldown reduction, which is insane movement speed. Now he takes a little bit more damage and deals a little bit less damage, but he's going to be fast as hell, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to get away from him. If he chooses he wants to kill you, even if you are a Janus here, I think he could chase you down.
I honest to goodness don't think Scream is all that concerned with doing any damage. He said 750 54 movement speed.
That's with ring toss.
That's an absurd amount. Once he procs everything, right, he's at an absurd amount of movement speed. But Scream's not that concerned with how much damage he's doing. It's the mobility and the survivability he wants as Benji brings Venenu down to half HP.
Well, don't forget, he gets a bit of power from his passive nowadays, too, so that's going to help him out as Baskin just avoids that through space and time, but Andy's onto him in the back line.
Benji comes in and cleans up BaRRaCCuDDa on the backside as well. Andinster and the whole team get pulled back in by the life of the party, and it's the Suns there dancing, and Baskin finds another kill. Double kill for Benji as JeffHindla falls as well, and this certainly could be here, Graham. Phoenix on the left-hand side going to go down. It's just one Venenu. His title might be formal, Sir Venenu indeed, but he cannot defend up against 5. eUnited gonna 2-0 Space Station Gaming.
And that was a quick set too, Finch. It wasn't even a long, drawn-out encounter. This was eUnited just showing that they love to fight, and they love to fight early and try and put it to bed so they don't have to waste any more time.
Yeah, we got a call like we see it on that one. eUnited made it look like they were just the better team, just flat out, I feel like, in that one. Now, I don't think it's always going to be that way. I don't think it's always going to stay this way by any means. Space Station are certainly a strong roster, and I love Venenu on that team. But right now, eUnited look pretty good.
Top of the shop in North America for now. I mean, there's still a couple of teams to see because this is the first game in North America this week. But they are the two teams that have done so well through the year that this is why everyone's like, well, eUnited's probably the #1 shoe-in as that #1 spot in North America.
And I gotta wonder, I mean, because I think the Baron was strong, but I don't think that it was game tipping by any means. There were so many things that went wrong for them, but twice in a row Space Station sort of allowed that to go through. They were able to second pick it after the Naja they already had. Space Station didn't do anything to force, I feel like, eUnited to do anything differently in those games.
And if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? That's what eUnited said. They went into it and went, oh, if they're going to give us it again, we'll just go one more time. I think with the Baron support, it's going to be an impactful thing we're going to see more often, but I do think that if you focus it early, it gets shut down heavily. But give it like an Ares in a sort of way of like, early game going to be great if you can get a lead or stay even, fall behind.
The Naja was a problem as well for Space Station to try and deal with. Was it enough for you to give that MVP over to Scream, though? That's going to be the question. He had an excellent performance very early on with it. I know last time y'all wanted to get it over to the Kuzenbo, but no Kuzenbo this time. So you're going to vote on merit this time, chat. I'm going to be watching you, making sure that you're voting the right way. Let's get it back over to the desk.
Take it easy. All right, Finch, we're just trying to do our job here. You know, it's not my fault that they asked for the Kuzenbo. I just had to do what I had to do. This time, though, you're right. They'll have to vote for someone else, and I think Scream's a good place to start, man. I'm surprised that Space Station was willing to go to second pick and kind of give up that Naja again.
Well, they gave it up. It was the first pick, but they didn't take away the Baron, and despite Benji playing the Kuzenbo in the first game, I still think that he might have an MVP performance in game number 2, going 3-0-8. He was so disruptive in the backline. The top farmer, actually, in the game. He's more known for his PvP aspect, but this game really flexing it on the other end.
Aquarius had a really, really solid game for Space Station. The moments where it looked like Space Station still had a chance, could come back. It was really off the back of Aquarius in these team fights. BaRRaCCuDDa had a much better game here in game 2, though still not able to match that output of PandaCat. But eUnited just looked dominant. I mean, that was, what, 45 minutes of total game time in this entire set over 2 games, 24 then 21 minutes. Incredibly quick victories for eUnited, and this one on the back of your Game 2 MVP, Scream, on the Naja.
Even though he was playing a little bit too aggressive at times, trying to go into 1v2s, it was still all a tactical bait because he had the trust of his teammates right beside him. And who needs your teammates when you're finding kills like that against andinster?
Scream got off to such a good lead in this game, and andinster ends up sitting at 0-7 in this one. He was down a significant amount of XP, and that's kind of what Naja does to you, right? He's able to farm faster than you and bring more damage in the early game.
And the problem was andinster picked that Ravana very early in the trap. I think it was in the first 2 picks, immediately trying to survive against this Naja. Ravana with the overhead kick, with the Mr. Crush giving you damage reduction. It's normally more defensive focused instead of making those offensive plays, but he just had no time to survive any of these engagements.
Well, that Neith pick in the mid lane means that it's so hard to take pressure away from eUnited in that mid lane, and you're able to actually put some pressure on the side lanes simultaneously. So the question of which team looks better right out of the gate answered resoundingly with eUnited with a 2-0 victory as we look ahead to what we've got the rest of